Hi everyone, today we're going to show you a cute little project we did using our newest stamp, Taylor. I am beginning to color in her skin tone, and I am using my E000 just to lay down a little bit of color to areas of her body. Next I'm going to go in with my E4 to kind of put in where the darkest areas are that I want for her skin, which is usually on the undersides and in the little cricks of her knee. I'm going to then go on and use my, this is my E21, and we're just blending out that E4. Just gives it a nicer, richer tone when you have multiple colors for the skin. Now going in with our E2, again just blending out what we're already laid down. You just keep using more layers and layers to get a variation of skin. Now our E00 and finishing pretty much the rest of this area of her arms and her legs and her little neck area. I always do the body and then go back and do the face so it doesn't dry out and I have time to blend. So now we're going to start the face, again starting with our E000 just to lay down some color. And my E000 is actually needs a little bit of a refill here. Okay, the E4, putting in where some of the shadows are going to be, which is usually underneath the hairline and wherever the skin is behind other parts of the skin, such as the ears or behind her face area. E21 is now going to start blending out that E4. And you can see I'm bringing it down a little bit further than where the E4 was, just because it's a bigger area to color, so you need more of the color to fill in there. Now our E02, blending out some more. Our E00, bringing in the area in between her eyes a little bit more and down into the cheek area. Now I'm going to do her cheeks with the R20, what is this, R22 I believe. And I always use two different colors. I'm sorry, I believe that's R24. And then I use the lighter color of the R22 here to blend out. So it's a little darker on the sides of her face and then getting to a lighter pink into the front where her cheek area actually is. And now we have to blend that pink parts out to blend nicer into the skin. So we take our E00 and blend that out, and then our E000 to blend the E00 with the cheek area. And yeah, my marker is definitely running out of ink here. I'm going to have to refill that. And then just because I like the cheeks to actually be a little more pink, I just go over with another layer and then I just blend out on the very outer edges so the pink still stays a nice pinky color. And you'll see that in the final photo. It's hard to tell with the video because I do not have the best of lighting, and I apologize for that. Now just quickly doing her little tongue area. Okay, we're going to get started on her hair here in a minute. Just pulling my colors. So here I'm using E15 just to put down the base of her hair here. This is actually not my darkest color I'm using. It's the second to the darkest color. But I always start with the second to the darkest color just so I can kind of see where I want the darkness to be. What's great about this stamp is she already has a lot of her hairlines with the direction of where you're going to go. So it's kind of a lot easier to follow with the lines that are already presented for you in the stamp. So I'm really just basically following the lines that are already drawn in there. And then you'll see I'll add an extra couple wisps of lines in between where there aren't any, just to get some extra flicks of color in there. As you can see, I'm doing that now. And it's not, you know, it's a little messy, and that's okay, because once it gets all blended out, it looks really good. Okay, so now we're using our Y38, just kind of going on top of that E15 so it softens it a little bit, and to get some of the golden color of her hair in here. And now here's my Y32, and I'm basically just filling in all the white areas. So I have the brighter yellow, and now underneath with the lighter yellows to get a couple of different tones in her blonde hair. But as you can see, it's not a really big contrast of color, and that is why we're going to come back with our E29 and really start to make it pop a little bit more. So the blonde looks really blonde and the shades are really shaded. So we're just basically following those lines and adding a few flicks here and there. And right now it is, because of the E29 is so dark, it's very harsh against those other colors that we already laid down, but we're going to take care of that in the next step, because you do go over your colors more than one time to blend and soften. Right now I just want to really put in there where I think those darkest shades of her hair are going to be, which is going to be on the sides of her face, under the area near where her neck is, wherever the shadow parts would be, and the roots of her hair. And that's all I'm doing. So as you can see with the E29, it's not really coloring as much as it is just filling in and tracing over some lines just to bring out a little bit of depth. But it is a little too harsh, so now we're going to go back with our E15 and just kind of go over some of those stroke areas where the darkest brown was that we just laid, just to blend it out a little bit and to soften it up. And then there's that Y38, just to get that brightness of the yellow back in there. And I think it looks good. So now we can go ahead and we're going to start on the next area of her. Let's see, what colors do we want to pull today? All right, we're going to just do her sash very plainly with a BV11. And now we're going to start in on her dress and her headband. We're using BG09 for our dark area. And then going through with BG05, and then we'll use BG01, and then finish it off with the BG000. And now we have a little bit of a variation of the dark to the light on her headband. And now let's just darken up these edges a little bit. And let's get started on her dress area. So again, our BG09, we're putting in our folds of our dress. I am not the best when it comes to folds. I kind of fake it to make it. And you'll see how I do that here. Just laying down the darkest color where I think all the folds are going to be. And then blending some of it out with BG05. And you don't want to color over too much because you're just trying to blend that harshness out so that in between the folds of the dress is going to be the lightest color. Okay, here we go with our BG01. Still leaving white in between so that we can get our lightest color in there to make the pleats look really dark. And there's our BG000, filling in and blending in all the rest of the space so that lightest area is in the center of all those pleats. But now we want to go back and really darken those pleats a little bit. Oh, let's do our shoes. So sorry it's off screen here. Just coloring in those shoes. And now we're going to, here we are going back to those darkest folds, just so the folds really pop. And those shadows are the dark. Just blending it out just a wee bit so it's not so stark of a hard dark line. And then blending it out again. And we're nearly done with her dress. And you can see now where those folds really lay. Now let's get started on this cute little teddy bear. Just so you know, this stamp actually comes with the bear with no face. The stamp comes with 2 face options. I chose to do the little eyes closed smiling bear face. The other one he has his eyes open. So you can really change it up how you want. I just used, let's see what color. Oh, shoot. I know the colors I used. Hold on, I will look that up for you. That was E37, and now we're doing E34. Blending it out. Here's some E33. You'll see I'm going to avoid the little cheek area so I can get some pink in there in a minute. So here we go with that. It's our R22 and then our R20s that we used on the little girl as well. And now I'll be able to go over it with an E31, which is our lightest color. And then I'm going to, let's see, needed a little pinker on his cheeks too, so hold on. It's darkening up the area so you can see that his ears are actually behind his head and where these cast shadows are going to be. get that blended a little so it's not so harsh. Okay, looking good. And just a little more pinks for the cheek. There we go. Now he doesn't actually look fluffy like a teddy bear, and I'm going to do a colorless blender technique on him in a minute, but you got to wait for your marker to actually dry. So while we wait for that to be completely dry, let's see, we are going to grab our white gel pen and clean up all the areas that I messed up on. Your white gel pen can be your best friend when you kind of go out of the lines here and there. Covers up really well, except for on red. Usually the reds bleed through, but we fixed her pretty good. All right, so now we're going to add some details. I really like her eyes to be really round, and I went over with skin tone too much on that one, so fixing that. Now we're just going to add some accents to her eye, and then little cheeks. So now let me get out my colorless blender, and I'm just going to use a washcloth, a terry cloth washcloth, so it's got the texture type that I want. And just saturating my cloth, and now I'm just dabbing it on, and I'm really only trying to hit on the teddy bear because it will take out the color on her dress and everywhere else if you're not too careful. And you can kind of see here, it made it like a little spotted looking, if you can see. And there we go. See, now we're going to put the gel on his cheeks. Looks good. All right. So now let's get to the card assembly part. Okay, so what we're doing here is we are going to make a little matchbook type thing. It is 9 1/8 by 3 1/2. The first score line is at 4 1/2, and your second score line is at 8 1/2. And then we just simply cut a piece of paper to fit the front cover. And then I had this die, and I'm sorry, I don't know which manufacturer it's from, but it just happened to fit perfectly. So let's go ahead and put some tape on our paper here. And line this up for the front cover. And now we're going to glue the back of our frame. Again, I'm afraid don't recall what die this one is. It's a little frame die with the scallops on the inside. It just worked perfectly for this project. So let's glue that now to the front. And there is the front of our card. And we are going to put some foam dots on the back of our colored image here. Okay, let's get these all down real quick. Just random placement, of course. Make sure this fits perfectly on her leg so it won't show on the other side. Okay, looks good. Let's remove these backing pieces. Oop. Okay, so let's see. And yeah, let's just put her in the center. Let's get her nice and adhered. So I should have put the twine on first. I didn't think of it, so I'm now going to have to feed it underneath where I put those foam dots. Okay, so there's my twine, and pull it tight to the underside. Here we go. And then I have a glue dot, and I just cut out a heart die, and I'm just going to use that on the inside to cover where the two pieces of twine are going to meet up. So let's pull those tight again, get that there. All right, there we go. Hide the twine, tuck under the little cut edges. And now we have our cute little treat holder. Oh, sticking out again. Sorry, let me fix that real quick. Get that there. All right. There we go. So then I found these adorable, tiny gummy bears. So we are going to just adhere that under that flap there, so she will cover up the little treat inside. So we're going to use, let's see, you could actually staple it in there if you wanted, but I have, hold on, let's put a bow on here. It's a little too plain. Let me get a tiny glue dot. Okay, and yeah, I like it this way. Stick that there, and okay. There we go. Okay, back to the candy part. Okay, let's see. So I have, these are tape lines, so we're just gonna put that on the inside. You could just staple it in if you wanted, but I had these glue strips, so let's just use those up. Obviously, that's too loose now. If I stapled it in, it would have gone through the back. So let me get another one here, and we will just put that on the underside as well. Let's get that down. There we go. And there you have your adorable Taylor holding her bear, giving you adorable gummy bears. And you can put your sentiment in there and whatever you need to do. Thank you.